Hi, I'm Aarti Arora Madarasmi. I'm the primary counselor at Bangkok Patna School.
Hi, my name is Roshni Sachdev Curtain, and I'm one of the middle school counselors at NIST International School.
I'm Roslin Srikuruwal. I'm one of the elementary counselors at NIST International School.
I'm Rubani Sethi. I'm a full school counselor at DBS Dunlop British School.
I feel like that happens to me all the time. I think we get thrown into different situations or challenged by different students presenting concerns that come up, and sometimes we don't know what to do. So one of the things I usually lean into the most is consulting with my colleagues. We really rely a lot on collaboration, so collaboration within my counseling team, as well as collaboration with my vice principal. Sometimes students have other needs too that are at the forefront, so that might require us to collaborate with learning support or enrichment support or allied health services as well.
I really think that it's the expect the unexpected, and just to be okay with not knowing all the time. We don't need to have all the answers, but our willingness to be there to then think about what we would do to problem solve. And just, relying on each other. I think that's really key, having that team. But it can be really difficult when maybe you are the only counselor there in your school. But for us, we're very lucky to have that team approach.
Yeah, I think I agree. I think one person that I really rely on is my supervisor. I can, consult them about any cases that I have and see what I can do if I feel like I don't know what to do in order to help my students.
Initially, when I started practicing, that was one of my struggles, to leave work at work. At the end of the day, the reality is we're all human. And so being completely objective is close to impossible. We are humans, we are subjective, we do take things on. And so I think that's where the importance of supervision comes in. It's important to have that clinical supervision in your practice where you can unload, where you have that space to leave work somewhere else and try not to take it home.
So initially it was really hard for me to leave work behind or to but my principal at that time said, Roz, think of the gate as a place where you're I'll see you back tomorrow. It's not that I'm not here, it's just coming back. But just as we support our students and learners and parents and teachers at school, finding out what strategy works for you as you're going from work to home. So for me, it's actually going to the gym before then going back into my life with my children and my family. And I find that to be a really great segue before I go back to
I agree with both of you. In my old job, my first, counseling position, I really struggled to leave work at work, and I was dealing with a really vulnerable population. I was working with young people that are affected by cancer. So there was a lot of grief and loss. I was going home with a lot of emotions, and I think it was through working at this place in Australia that I really learned that I had to set some boundaries for myself. It's something we teach our students about around how to set boundaries. So I've noticed that, working at NIST, when I come home, one of the boundaries that I set for myself is that I don't look at my emails. I try to be really present with my family, and that really allows me to have the space to fill my own cup too. And so I really need that.
So another thing that I do in terms of, leaving work at work is one of my mentors told me, take off your badge, put it in the car, and leave it there. Once you exit your car, and your work is left there. So I think that really helps for me on an everyday basis.
I think living in Thailand, we don't, I wonder if everyone would agree, we don't really have external resources to refer our students to. So, we can help them in school, but sometimes they may need services that are not provided within school, that's provided in private practice. And I find that the resources in Thailand are still very limited. And so that's where I struggle when I need to refer them out. Where do I refer them to? And where do I refer them to that I feel comfortable? So someone that I may know in the field that's been practicing. So, yeah.
for me, and it leads to this, is that the biggest limitation for me as a counselor is time. We all have, a lot of young people that we are trying to support, but we also wear so many different hats and have so many different roles when we walk into the school. So, a lot of us do teaching. We all are people who help to safeguard our community. We get thrown into parent meetings, teacher meetings, parent presentations. There's a whole lot that we have to juggle, and so the limitation really comes down to time. And like Aarti said, sometimes we do have to refer our young people out to external therapy or even just other external services. And that sometimes is hard because you want to work with that student. You've developed such a great, strong rapport with them, but you know that they would benefit from more intensive external support, someone that could give them a little bit more time.
I think for me, in my place, I would sort of get more resources and tools for the students in terms of strategy cards, coping tools, sort of have that material there available for them. So I know what it's like to, create a safe space and a safe environment. I think some students would benefit by having different resources depending on their needs. So that's one thing that I would probably add to an institution just to make it more comfortable for them.
Yeah, I think that happens often. As counselors, we all hold a safeguarding role too. And one of the things that we do with our clients, with our students, is very early on, we will share with them that we want to uphold confidentiality, but that there are limits to that. And the limits are always around safety. So if there's ever a threat to themselves or a threat to someone else's safety, that's when we may have to break confidentiality. And breaking confidentiality usually just looks like looping in parents or consulting with our vice principal or our safeguarding team. And it really is always in the best interest of our students. So that's where we might just need other advice and support, but it doesn't really mean that we can't help them or we can't support them to a deeper level.
For any child who is looking for external mental health support, please don't hesitate to call 1387, the official Thailand Childline.